In this video, we're going to go over how to add a story to your site. You want to make sure you're logged in, and then the first step is come to the Snow Dashboard dropdown up here at the top, and the first button there is Add a Story. That's going to open up the Story Edit page. Then the next thing you want to do is give the story a headline. You can always come back and change it later, but adding that headline creates a permalink, and what that does is it gives the site something to impress onto, to save periodically, so that if the internet cuts out or the power goes down while you're working, you've got something to come back to. So important step one, add a headline. Next, you can add a deck if you would like to. Then next step after that is adding the actual story. So if you have it in a Google Doc or a Word document, save someplace else, you can copy and paste it. You can type it here. We recommend typing elsewhere and pasting it in, but whatever works for your workflow. The story itself is going to go in this field here, and then you've got formatting tools if you need to use them. The next step would be determining which story template you would like this story to display with. When you create a new story, it's just going to automatically select the default that your web designer, your web editor, your advisor has selected for you to use. They assume that most of your stories are going to use that template, but if you and the editorial team believe that a better template is suited for this story, it's easy to select a different template just by clicking one of them there. Once you've selected the story page layout, then you want to start filling out some of these custom fields. So the first one would be the byline here. So the writer's name. So you start typing the writer's name there. If they've ever written anything on the site before, their name will probably populate in a drop down here. You just click that to autofill if you don't want to type it all the way out there. These bylines are going to be clickable hyperlinks that go back to that person's staff profile. So I definitely recommend having staff profiles for your writers if they're writing a lot for your site. If it's just a single person, you can put their job title here. So you can say this person's a staff reporter. But if you have a story that multiple people have worked on, you've got the option here to add another writer. You notice that then replaces the job title. In case the writers have different job titles, we remove that job title field. And then in this one, we could select our other writer. And then again, both of these will be separate links to separate staff profiles. Then you want to make sure to add a featured image to the story. So click Set Featured Image. That's going to open up your media library. This is going to have every image that's ever been uploaded to your site before. So if you're reusing an old image, you should be able to just find it here and select it to add it in. Most of the time, though, you're probably going to upload a new image. So then just navigate to wherever folder that's saved in on your computer. Upload it there. Once uploaded, you can add the caption and then the photographer field. This is for that byline that's going to click to go back to the photographer staff profile. So for that reason, if the photo was not taken by a member of staff, not somebody who has a staff profile, we would recommend putting those attributions at the end of the caption. After adding that featured image, the next custom field down here is if you have a video or audio component to your story. So then you would click Add Video Embed Code. Just a reminder that you can't upload audio and video files directly to the website. They're too large, so you need to upload those to a third-party hosting site. So, for example, if we'd uploaded a video to YouTube, I would then be able to go to YouTube and get an embed code. And there's a separate support article on how you can do that. Once I have the embed code, I paste it in here. And then I can select my location where I want that video to display. And then add credit lines again for anybody who worked on this video. You can add as many of those as you need to. Again, those are creating that hyperlink back to the staff profile. So kind of along the lines of the photo there, if the video was submitted by a source or the credit should go to somebody else, we recommend putting those attributions in the caption. Any other information you want to add in the caption of the video or audio piece goes in this box here. Over here, just under the story body field, is the custom teaser box. That is going to allow you to select what content displays as the teaser text on the home page for any widgets that display a teaser. So if you leave this blank and the widget uses a teaser, it's just going to pull the first 300 words or so, 300 characters of your story. Otherwise, if you have like a really good quote or a really good paragraph that you think is going to grab people and make them want to read the story, then you could put that in here in the custom teaser box and it will replace the site just automatically pulling from the top of the story. Totally up to you there. A lot of people choose to leave that blank because it will just automatically populate from the story body field. Then the last box here, the last field in the center column here, is discussion, and that allows you to disable comments for an individual story if you want to do that. If your site has comments off for all stories, then that box should not be selected. But if comments are allowed on your site, but you wanted to disallow them for an individual story, that's where you go to do that. Back over in the right column, going to go ahead and jump over the publish and story design boxes for right now. We'll come back to those in a minute. You want to make sure to place your story in the proper category. So, for example, if this is a news story, go ahead and click news. But then if I also wanted to put it in a showcase category, oftentimes we see sites where their showcase category is displayed as a widget really big across the top of the page. I could select that category as well. If you select a lot of categories and they all have widgets on the homepage, you're going to get duplicate placement of the story. So really, we recommend limiting it to one of these kind of legacy categories and maybe the showcase category. But if you do choose to place it in multiple categories, you can then select a primary category, and that's going to be used to pull related content that's displayed on the story page. You can add tags to your story. It's just another way to group the story together. Doesn't help with SEO or search or anything like that, but it does create a button so people can click that to see all the other stories containing that tag. So, for example, with news, if maybe this has to do with campus news and the cafeteria and curriculum, I can add those three, and when you have multiple tags, you can designate a primary tag, and then you can set your related content to pull based on tags, categories, or the writer. The last box down here is the Sports Center attachment box. If you have the Site Booster, then you'll see this box. If you don't, this box won't be there. If you do have it and you're using the Sports Center, you can select, if this is a sports story, select which sport it should display on. Otherwise, if it's not a sports story, you can go ahead and just leave that blank. Jumping back up here to the story design box, this is where you can override some defaults on the story page. So the default here is it's using the non-home sidebar, but you have the option to create up to 9 custom sidebars. So let's say, again, I've got a sports sidebar, so maybe I want to use that if it's for a sports story. So I could select that there, and then it's going to replace the default sidebar with this custom sidebar. Kind of the same thing here with the custom header and footer. You can create up to 5 custom headers and footers for the site. So I could set those there if I wanted. And then lastly, the customized story design. This allows you to override a lot of design elements on an individual story. So for example, if I had a really small headline, a really short headline, so I wanted that text to be a little bit bigger, I could update that just for this individual story. You can choose whether, maybe you don't want to show the story views on this one. You can adjust what the social media icons look like. There's a lot of different elements that you can customize for the individual story here. So you can go ahead and look through those. They are pretty straightforward what each one does. And like always, as we finish up there and come up to our publish box, you can click the preview button to see what that looks like. So if you're wondering what that design change is going to look like, you can always check it with the preview. Also here in the publish box, I can save a draft and then I can come back to it in my stories list later to finalize it if I need to. If it's ready to publish, the default's always going to be to publish immediately, but on that row, I have the option to select a date or time in the future and schedule that to publish at that time. If you're publishing in the afternoon, it goes on military time, so just add 12 to that time. For example, I'm recording this video about 2:18 in the afternoon, so if I wanted this to publish at 3, I would set that time to 15:00. We'll go ahead and keep that published immediately. You can change the visibility here, but really we don't recommend doing that because you want most of your stories to be just publicly visible. So we don't recommend changing that. If you have questions on it, you can always let us know via support ticket, but typically just going to maybe schedule that there and then publish it. Once it's published, then you can click that view story button and it takes you to the story. If you need to make any changes, as long as you're logged in, it's really easy on the story page. Just click edit story. Takes you back to that story edit page where you can make any changes that you need to. And then once you've finished that, click update and the story will be updated. So that is how you add a story to your site. Thanks for watching the video.